Alright guys, welcome back to Range of Survival in Fieldcraft. I'm Andrew, and what I have for you today are the 10 essential bug out bag items that are going to go in our urban bug out survival kit. Stand by. Alright guys, we're going to just dive right in. And one thing I wanted to cover right up front was a TTP or an SOP that I use and recommend to you for bug outs, especially if you're going to be traveling with children. And it's taken from a military concept called a pointy talkie. Now, pointy talkies are pamphlets or pieces of paper with pictures, descriptions of foreign languages on them that we can use to communicate with people who don't speak our same language, either for basic messages like, "Hi, how are you?" or if we're escaping and evading, messages for getting food, water, or medical aid, or trying to find other U.S. forces in the area. But we can use that same concept with our children. If we're traveling with small children, we can create just a pointy talkie for that kid that kid can then hand off to law enforcement if mommy and daddy and the children are separated from one another, or if the parents are incapacitated. The children can keep this hidden in their backpack, pull it out, and give it to emergency services once emergency services arrive or the police arrive. That way they can begin to communicate and get help. So all we have on this is just a basic description of the child, hair color, eye color, race, any medical issues, name, all of that. And then even up here we have a picture of the child himself, Bruce Wayne, the father, of course me, and then the mother, Catwoman, obviously. And then we have pictures down here for the child to identify emergency services, the fire department, or the police to be able to give this pointy talkie to. We also have things that the child may know how to do, like fight crime, never leave a sidekick, doesn't use guns, and then even emergency information down here where the parents work, things like that, who to contact to get a hold of the parents if the child is out by themselves, and then another emergency contact, Alfred, our faithful butler. And even on the back we have a picture of the kit that Bruce Wayne may be carrying, so emergency services can give the kit to the kid, or Bruce Wayne in this case, to keep that kid calm in an emergency, things like the batarang and the grappling hook. And then a strip map of the neighborhood where Bruce Wayne lives. Notice it's just a general area, that way if this map falls into the wrong hands, they can't really identify where Bruce Wayne lives, and the Batcave is still safe. But this is just a simple technique taken from a military concept that we can apply to our own bug out bags for our children, and that's essential number one. Number two is just extra ammunition. Throw extra ammunition inside your bug out bag. If you're allowed to carry firearms, you have a concealed carry. You can never have too much ammunition for your concealed carry to be able to defend yourself and then reload on the move and continue to escape and evade and get off the X and make it home safe. As a side note, if we don't have the ability to carry a small firearm with us for defense, we can obviously go with non-lethal methods, things like bear spray and or mace or a taser, or even non-lethal firearms are great for self-defense if we can't carry these or we want to go non-lethal with our kit. All right, next, an extraction tool. We may find ourselves in a difficult situation and we need to get out of whatever that life-threatening situation is. Often it will be to extract ourselves from a dangerous situation like being trapped inside a car. So we have just a simple rescue me tool that has a razor blade we can use to cut the seatbelt, as well as a glass breaker right here. We just press this against the glass and a spring-loaded pin will shatter that glass so we can break the safety glass and get out of that vehicle. We can also use this as an extraction tool for other people. If we witness an accident and become a first responder, we can get a person out of a dangerous situation by accessing that vehicle or building, whatever it is, with this tool, and then getting those people to safety. This tool can be attached to a keychain with a number of other safety features on it: cuff key, small flashlight, emergency whistle, and then even a CPR mask. But this extraction tool is definitely better than carrying a demo tool or even a crowbar for extraction. These are highly suspicious, plus they're heavy to carry, so we carry smaller items that can do a similar job. We just need to remember how to use them, but a helpful acronym we can use for any sort of obstacle is something called AUTO-D, and that AUTO-D means away or around, under, through, over, or destroy. So AUTO-D, we either go away or around that obstacle, under it, through it, over it, or we destroy that obstacle. We can do that with a small rescue me tool using the right techniques and the right access points for extraction. All right, next we need a map That is another essential that needs to go in our urban bug out bag. We need a map so we can find our way around, because we may not always have a GPS with us and we may be in a new area. We can take the GPS certainly and program our escape routes in here, but if we don't have that, or the batteries don't work, or we run out of juice, we need a map, and we need to study the map itself to ensure we can find our way around. To go with that, just some helpful compasses to give us our basic direction so we can orient this map and then begin to land navigate. So a map is another essential inside our urban bug out bag. All right, that next thing is going to be money and any important paperwork. We're going to put these together because these are the things we're going to use to get through any sort of barriers. We can use our passport as well as money to be able to transport ourselves across different borders or through different checkpoints, or at least pay for some sort of form of transportation. We had a buddy that is in 10th group that would keep money hidden in his clothing and on his person so he could use it in an emergency as part of his escape kit. That way he could get that Uber out of a dangerous situation and make it back to friendly lines, and he had his identification and everything with him so he could travel easily. Now, especially in an urban environment, there are going to be chances that we could be part of some sort of life-threatening situation, not just an accident, but also some sort of threat like an active shooter or a terrorist event. The one thing we're going to need is something called a blowout kit. A blowout kit is just what it sounds like, a blowout kit for major injuries either sustained from some sort of large laceration or catastrophic wound that causes severe bleeding. And all it is, we have an Israeli bandage, we have combat shears so we can remove clothing and expose the wound to identify it, we have a tourniquet to stop that bleeding, and then even combat gauze underneath to actually plug up that hole and stop bleeding at the source to save a life. Not only for us, but we can use this on somebody else as well. We can also put it in some sort of pouch as part of our kit. We don't have to have it just wrapped up in a rubber band like this. This has ease of access, but those items may become worn and torn with travel, and we can just have a simple pouch that is 100% ready to go. Have the same components plus a few extra items, and we can keep this in our kit not only for us, but yet again for someone else who may have some sort of catastrophic wound. Bring it back up. Zip everything back up, here the Velcro, and we can just take this kit and actually place it inside of our urban bag. We can make other ones for children or other people in our group as well. They can put in their kits with specialized bandages or medicine that they need and that they can apply themselves with proper training. And the same SOP or TTP that we've used for quite a while now, you guys have seen in probably a lot of videos, just to have those items, that blowout kit ready with our tourniquet, combat gauze, and then the Israeli bandage underneath, secured inside this flap of our backpack. And so there are a variety of ways we can actually set up this kit, but having that blowout kit for catastrophic injuries in an urban environment, especially important in saving life. All right, one thing that's very important, and no matter what survival situation you're in, and that's going to be water. And so having a silk-cock key like this that we can use on the exterior of buildings to access those external water faucets and get fresh drinking water is incredibly important. So a silk-cock key to get that water, that hydration that we desperately need. We could also use the money as part of our kit to buy water, but if we can't, or it's nighttime, shops are shut down, or we're in a foreign area, we can attempt to get water with that silk-cock key. Now, speaking of that silk-cock key, we need ways to treat water to make it safe to drink. We also need ways to carry that water. We can use a Camelback, we can use an Nalgene bottle, or some sort of filter that can act as a bottle to transport that water. But we have to have ways to treat that water to make it safe to drink, because not only in a wilderness situation do we need water, but we also need it in an urban environment. We could use that cash to help buy water, like we said, but we need ways to treat that water if that water is unsafe to drink or we have to gather it from a suspect source. And so we can use a variety of tools for that. We can use simple iodine tablets. We can have a filter that's already plugged in to our Camelback, actually act as a water filtration device so we can drink that water. We can use a tincture of iodine to treat that water, treating that water chemically just like with those iodine pills we have. We can use those. We can use that water filter, that GeoPress, and even having a water bottle to collect, and then some sort of metal cup that we can use to boil that water over a fire is incredibly important. Another thing that we can use is something that's just called a SteriPen. This is just a SteriPen. It uses UV light to treat water. We just put in batteries up here, we turn it on, 1 click for half a liter, 2 clicks for full liter, and then we stir that water with the light fully submerged in the water for 90 seconds until that water is treated with a SteriPen, making it safe to drink. We want to remove all the sediment and make that water as clear as possible, but if that water is suspect, we can use this to help treat it, and all it takes is some batteries and about 90 seconds of our time. Now, in an urban setting, food may be all around us, but it may be inaccessible for one reason or another, so it's best to have snacks on hand. Things that are high calorie, high energy, like peanut butter and energy bars, or high calorie energy bars, 400 calories, about 1,000 calories just right here in this packet of peanut butter, is great for just an on-the-go quick shot of energy that can keep us going. One other thing that we could potentially add, again, taken from the military, these used to come in first strike rations, if y'all remember those, and it's just caffeine chewing gum. We could take this and use it in place of coffee or other stimulants, and it gives us caffeine to help keep us going in that urban environment long enough to remain alert, make good decisions, and get back to home or get back to safety. And then the last bit of kit that we're going to need as part of our urban survival bag, because it is our primary shelter, is going to be additional clothing, things like a hat, some sort of wet weather jacket or a cold weather jacket, and then gloves, because this is our first line of shelter. We could improvise with things we find, but we want to have an extra set of clothing, not only because it will help keep us warm, but we can use this clothing to change into and change out of our old clothing if we're attempting to avoid detection or avoid pursuers. Thus, we have just a simple level 1 disguise that we can take with us, change into, as well as keep warm and protect ourselves from the elements. All right, now one thing that is an honorable mention is batteries, spare batteries for all our electronic devices. Spare batteries for things like our GPS, if we're using that, for our SteriPen, for our flashlight, and whatever else we're going to need those batteries for. But we want to have spare batteries as part of our kit. All right, guys, a down and dirty video today. There is a military surplus or vintage surplus expo that's going on in town, so I'm going to that to see if I can find some goodies. But I wanted to get this video out because I've had a lot of questions on not only bug out ideas or kits or bags, but then things for children or small individuals, minors that go with us when we're traveling through the city, and especially in an urban environment. So I hope you like this video. If you did like this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment in the comment section. I always appreciate your feedback. I want to thank you guys for what you can do for me, for this channel, for your likes, your views, your subscriptions, your comments, your feedback, and your shares. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.